Shall we go?
Yeah, I mean the coolest thing about this whole topic for me, I 100% admit that I was life happens to me always. I believed that for the longest time growing up. It was just a thing that was kind of instilled in me, and so over years, kind of seeing the shifts in both myself and clients and things like that, and just kind of learning some stuff. When we had our conversation at that house in St. Catharines, my mind was just like doing this and like, because it all just made clear, easy, great, amazing sense. And so since then, I've just been sharing that thought and everything about your pyramid and the four levels and how we can really move through them and use them and transcend things. So for me, it's selfishly as exciting to listen to you talk about it as it is, as it is personally for me to be able to deliver this to other people as well.
Mm. Yeah, I love it. And it's so simple, right? It's so simple. And when the coin drops and you get it, just as you've said, Adam, it's game changing.
It really is absolutely life changing. I would say life changing for sure.
Well, it actually it is around the game of life. If we merge those two together, because playing the game of life has rules, and if we follow the rules and we follow the laws, then we are given opportunity. We are presented with opportunity to grow, to transform, to serve, to expand, to experience. So, the four stages of consciousness. I know that when we spoke recently, you've introduced it to a part in your body transformation challenges, right? And in asking people, what is it that they really want? So do you want to dig into that a little bit more as a bit of preface,
Absolutely. It's one of the coolest things for me to be able to see. And so we've been collecting data and research for years about what is it that really get people to want, personal training or to do some sort of fitness thing. In the beginning, when I first started this career 15 years ago, everybody said I wanted to lose weight or gain muscle. So it was either lose fat or build muscle. But then people still were getting more unhealthy and more overweight and weren't really able to figure that one out. And so recently we just started the transformation challenge, and our transformation challenge is very different from this typical, weight loss challenge. It's more about all the lifestyle stuff. So you can actually transform the way you're thinking, eating and working out to live a more fulfilling and successful life. And the funny thing is that's been my tagline, the fulfilling and successful life part. I just use fitness to get to it. I think it was about 36% of all personal training clients. This isn't just our transformation challenge. We're talking all of our personal training clients we've worked with. About 36% say that they're coming to us to lose weight. Over 80% of all personal training clients say that they want to improve their sense of happiness, fulfillment, and success in their life. And so I always ask, well, what's that mean to you? Define that for us so that we understand that. And along the curve, we'll start to hear, well, if I was to lose weight, I would feel this. So the losing the weight thing is just that small little segment that enables confidence, fulfillment, feeling better about everything. So then success breeds and fulfillment breeds and happiness starts to breed from there. But the staggering thing for me was more than double the amount of people. 4 of every 5 people that come in to see us say that that's what they're looking for. And we talk about the body all the time, looking a little bit better, but looking, feeling, living, and being better through yourself and your own actions is incredible to see. So I'm excited to hear you talk a little bit more about the how this all interplays from the body, the physical manifestation that we can see, but it contains the rest of everything else. And that's when we can really peel back the layers and start looking at the different levels.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Awesome. Awesome. Well, let's dive in. So 4 stages of consciousness. And as you've touched upon, Adam, already, around, greater sense of purpose and fulfillment and meaning and joy and happiness and success. Most importantly, at people's root, we all seek happiness. We all seek to be free. And so if we imagine straight away that the pyramid, just a very simple triangle. And so there's 4 levels to the triangle. So the first being the base, and the 4th being the capstone or the apex of the pyramid. So the first phase is quite often referred to as victim consciousness. Now that may feel quite visceral or bring up a charge for people, because I don't like to admit when I'm being a victim, or I'll actually reject the idea that I'm being a victim in my life, even though the world outside of me is playing out very much a resistance focused, or an on to me, an impressed upon me type of energy. So the first level that we must rise from is the inner belief, the deep belief that life happens to me. So and you've touched on that already. So quite often when we are addressing our health or our healing or our business success or our relationships or whatever it may be, our finances, we'll often at this first level look outside of ourselves for validation and proof that life does happen to me, because I don't feel I am in control of my life at all, or very little levels of control. So at that level, that primary level, if life happens to you, then you are leaking vital energy all the time, because we are often, vibrating in a state of survival. So we are in higher brainwave states. We're in beta or high beta a lot of the time. We have a lot of the stress hormones being pumped through our body, which contributes greatly, as you know, as the expert in health, to the accumulation of fat and the deposit of fat around, especially abdomen and upper thighs and backside for women, all those types of things.
All those other things that just breed negativity and reduction in health and the leaking of health. Yes.
Yeah, totally. So when we look at the first level, the foundation level, that belief is essentially leaking me of energy. It's leaking me of personal power, and it's placing my power outside of me, which means that others make decisions for me, or I am not capable of making decisions for myself, because I believe that I need to continue to react to the external world to defend myself and to survive. And so when we operate at that level, then we may find that the bandwidth of experience, we bounce between ceiling and floor, ceiling and floor, ceiling and floor quite aggressively. Yeah. And so, you would see that in all the people that you work with as well. You get a little win, and then the rug feels like it's pulled underneath you. And there's this narrative that plays out there, which is, I can never seem to get ahead. No matter what I do, nothing ever works out fully for me. Yeah. So at that level, it's a terrible state to be in, and it's a terrible way to live your life. And, there's still too many people on the planet that are living at that level unconsciously. And in living unconsciously, we have no ability to assert our power in the world and through our new choices and decisions, because we actually have not got the awareness, or we haven't allowed the awareness to observe the self that exists in that lower level. So life happens to me is often the foundation for people wanting to gain control of their life, and they will set up lots of barriers to love, barriers to receiving love, barriers to receiving gifts of service from other people. So I seek control because I perceive I lack control over my life. And so the harder I seek control, and controlling in my ways, controlling in my environment, controlling in my relationships, controlling in the food choices I make, or the career choices, or all these sorts of things, I am just trying to hold on. And as Buddha says, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. So attachment breeds suffering. And so at that level of control, or the seeking of control, we become so attached to things, and change becomes very, very difficult, or at times impossible, because we don't believe we can change.
I love
that. So that's a big basis, right?
Well, I love that. And there's so many ways that this just makes sense and interplays. And one thing, we talk about this often, is you have to say bye to the old self in order to move forward sometimes. And so often, and I was literally just reading about this the other day and reformatting some information, but the subconscious, people are like, well, I'll never have control of my subconscious. No, you don't. That's why it's but you develop it with all of your
Mm,
actions and
mm,
behaviors and
mm,
habits. And over time, if you continue to hold on to these possessions and things and, wanting that perceived control that you just don't have in those areas,
mm.
it holds you back. And it's easier, even though that old self, you're not happy with it, it's easier to hold on to that old self than it is to go into the uncertainty of the potential future and what you could potentially see. And I know we talk
Yeah.
about potential and infinite potential and zero limits. The best part is, and we've never actually talked about this, your tag, you have the tag of zero limits,
Hmm.
versus exceed your limits. Did we talk
Yeah.
about that before?
Oh, briefly, very briefly.
It's just incredibly cool about the synergies there. But yeah,
Yes.
the holding on to those possessions and or things like that, and really being afraid of letting go of that old self and moving forward to the new self. It's how we develop that subconscious limitation, right?
That's brilliant. That's brilliant because each one of the four levels is an identity,
Yes.
and an identity is a persona. And in Latin, so personality is our persona. So in Latin, persona is mask. So it's the mask we wear at that level. And yeah, we can go so deep. Like the subconscious functioning at level one is impressed upon from past experiences. So everything that exists in the subconscious up to this moment for all of us is the sum total of all the information we have received, all the things we have believed about ourselves and the world, and the perceptions that we have about the world. So the subconscious is it's frozen in time at level one. So the subconscious is not receiving any new information because we're behaving the same way and we're making the same choices on a day-to-day basis. And our perception of the world is the same, that everyone out there is, out for themselves, and I never get what I want, or I'm not able to ask for what I want because invariably I'm not worthy of receiving anything. So I'll just make sure that I keep the belief and the operating system running that life happens better for other people, not for me, because somewhere in my past, which I'm frozen in time, there is a belief that I have done wrong or wrong has been done to me, and therefore I have trapped emotions at those levels. So the triangle, you can actually sit right over the body, and the base of the pyramid sits in the three lower energy centers. And we can go into that in a lot more detail. So that's huge. It's huge.
We'll keep doing this one and we'll keep talking about these, but let's keep moving through the levels. So
Yeah, yeah, let's do it. So that's life happens to me. Very much victimhood, victim consciousness. As we raise our frequency and we start to make different decisions, because and we choose a different behavior. So we can say, well, I'm going to look at the world now differently, and I'm going to see it through the lens of life happens for me. Yeah. And so the level 2 and then level 3 are quite interchangeable. Some people will put one before the other, but let's just stick with this narrative. So life happens for me. So when I receive information from my external world, I now have cultivated a greater sense of personal awareness. And I can go, okay, so life is happening for me to learn, for me to grow, for me to evolve, for me to give me the choice to make a new decision. So if I have information coming to me, I can be discerning and I can go, this is preferred, and I'm going to lean into that even more. And this is non-preferred. And I'm starting to learn through things like the law of attraction and personal growth and development and spirituality that whatever I give attention to, I give energy to. Whenever I give energy to for long periods of time, I sustain or I continue to create. So I start to realize that there's this interplay. So life happening for me can be a trap. It can be a consciousness trap because we end up seeing, which is not a bad thing if you can arrive at peace, if you can arrive at a level of happiness where you are not reacting to the external world.
Right.
But you can sort of see that everything that happens around me is for me to grow. And then I can choose my response to either go into the non-preferred or to forgive it or to rest my awareness on the preferred. So I then have two choices rather than one. Yeah. So at that level, things start to change quite rapidly. People may, start doing the law of attraction things of, finding a car park and finding a gold coin or a $1 note and all the tongue-in-cheek stuff that I say, which, does rub some people up a little bit differently, but it's kindergarten. It really is kindergarten stuff, because we are super, super powerful beings and we are creators. And being a creator does not mean that you can create some things and not others. You create all things, which then moves us to level 3. So level 3 is life happens by me. And so when life happens by me, I'm in full conscious awareness that where I rest my attention and where I give my energy is where I consciously decide to direct the flow of my intentions, meaning I decide what I want to create in my world. And by leaning into what I want to create, I have an intention that is very clear on what the outcome is, and in what the outcome will and not necessarily how it will arrive. I've let go of the base level of attachments.
Yes.
So I'm not so fixed with time. So yeah, let's take a breath there. Like your lean in on that, like you personally or your clients. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what I love about it is it even sounds like level 2 is kind of like a transition period to go from the norm of, hey, life was really challenging in the past. And yeah, a lot of stuff did happen to us because we kind of, allowed it to. And then you starting to see that life can happen for you and open up all these opportunities. And I just hope people don't stop there and then just kind of get hung out in it, even though, like I mentioned, if you can find a sense of happiness in that place, awesome. And at the end of the day, that's what we're looking for. Life never has to stop, and it can become this journey and progress component. It's not like a destination, a place of cool, I'll stop right there. And then when you hear level 3, it's like, why wouldn't you want to get to that level and continue to work on the mindset? And so where this really resonates for me is like the body, you don't build muscle overnight. You can't just go from being overweight to being perfectly healthy, have the best body composition in a day. It takes time and it takes effort to move from level 1 to 2 to 3 and then to 4. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some effort, and it's going to take some awareness. And what I often say is, no matter how difficult you think it is to work out in the gym on a daily basis, it's harder to do this stuff without the right mindset and guides along the way. And that's why having somebody like yourself with this experience, knowledge, intent, and intelligence, and the Australian voice, I'll listen to it all day. With that ability, that's why I'm sitting here listening on the other side. All the people that listen to me know I like to talk, and I will listen to you all day about this. But what I mean by that is, just the ability to start moving through those levels and being able to understand that this is a journey and a process. And when you get to these different levels, it unlocks so much potential in you to say bye to this old stuff, keeping what you want to keep from it, because you are in control of all that. And you can say that you can let go of the other stuff. Understand that that's built some of your values and character, and that's why you choose to move this way instead.
Very much. Love it. Love it. Yeah. Each of the levels, we will move up and down through the levels throughout our life. However, it's not whether you dig your toe in and out of level 1, 2, or 3 as you're climbing your vertical scale, your scale of mastery. It's how long you spend and how much energy you expend.
Yes. You just nailed it. One of the things I remember before, monks lose focus, even though they're impressive about focus meditation. They're just incredibly quick at recognizing and becoming aware of when they have moved away from where they ought to be, and then getting themselves. And that's just called a system. I'm aware of this. I need to go back this way. Oh, I'm in level 1 right now. Okay, cool. Let's get back to level 2 and 3 as soon as we can. Yeah.
It is a shift. It's perfect. And a shift is a decision. That's as simple as it is. And as you said, Adam, regarding, whether it's going to the gym or eating right or, eating regularly, all those sorts of things, hydration, sleep, they're so easy not to do. And the ease of not doing them will leave you on the same path of success. Yeah. So your future will very often be the same as your past. You're just mirroring that and wiring yourself into predictability.
So the choice and the decisions too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So the work that we both do, I love when, there's this awareness that comes in and you say, actually, at level 3, I am the creator of my world. Everything that I wish to experience and seek to experience already exists completely in the quantum field, solely and wholly in the quantum field as a potential. And I also understand at level 3 that in life happening by me, that I can direct the course of my life through my thoughts, through my actions, and through my feelings on a moment-to-moment basis. So time becomes very different as we move from level 1, 2, and 3 in our appreciation, understanding of time. And then, of course, at that level, where we're not attached to necessarily the minutiae or the mundane tasks. We will do them, but we have a different level of appreciation for them. They are on the way, not in the way. Whereas at level 1, potentially at level 2, everything feels like a grind. Everything feels like the hustle and overwhelm, stress and anxiety producing. So level 3, yeah, that's a pretty good state to be in. And like we said at the beginning, each of the levels is an identity. Who you are at level 3 is vastly different to who you are in level 2 and level 1. So then in level 4 is really the capstone. The capstone is the apex of the pyramid. And the level 4 is life happens through me, meaning that we are an instrument of consciousness, that we are connected to Father Sky and Mother Earth. We're connected to the stars and the planet beneath our feet. We're connected to a universal energy. You can call it God, source, infinite intelligence, whatever you want to call it. However, there is alignment. And when we understand that life happens through me, I am in alignment, in direct alignment with that which is above and that which is below. That which is so within, so without, or as within, so without. And it is level 3 that springboards you into level 4, in as far as that I understand that cultivating my inner verse, my inner imagination, and creating from inside first is paramount. If we imagine an onion, everyone believes that the onion starts from outside in. So level 1 is the outside in. And I can find my center, but I must travel to the center of my universe, the center of myself. So that's the journey that we go through. And then as we start to move into level 3 and 4, the onion is reversed. And in scripture, it's revealed that way, that the universe is an inverse onion, meaning the center spirals out and the outward spirals in. So there is a symbiotic movement and play that goes on. So that's getting a little bit more, far out there, but the apex is really about self-actualization, that I am the creator being in my life. And that for me to cast my intention and my energy into creating a specific outcome in my world, if I can do it in one area, I know I can do it in all areas. Whereas level 1 and 2, it might be, well, it works for this, but it doesn't work for that area of my life. It's all the same, because the foundational principles and laws do not do not favor one area of your life over another. So yeah, I'll take a breath.
I love that. And like I said, I'll listen to it all day. But yeah, when you get to that level and you can kind of, like you said, the interplay amongst them makes great sense as you find yourself in different places, become aware and start moving through. And you feel that different part of your identity. Like when you're in level 1 and 2, you'll feel that typically people that I've spoke to in the past, they feel negative about most things. They see negative in most things. They look at an event and they just see the negative side of it without choosing to look at the positive side of it. Mm-hmm. In a negative moment, you can still have beauty. You just have to choose to look for that as opposed to allowing, and that's your choice. When you're in, it sounds like when you're in level 3 and 4, those choices become more habitual, more natural. Just they just happen. And I always speak to people, when you feel like time is just flying, floating, and you have zero sense of time, what are you doing? I'm like, oh my God, everything that I just love. And oh, so how did you get there? What did you choose to do? Well, I chose to say no to that because I know what that makes me feel like. And this, okay, cool. So could you do that more often with food and exercise, and choosing not to react negatively in a negative environment and just choose to respond positively because you have that choice. Nothing is happening to you in that moment. You're happening to yourself. You're just self-projecting whatever it is. That choice, which is challenging, and that's why it's great to have guides like yourself, guides like myself, to be able to help along that curve, along that path, along that process and journey. But it's all your choice. It always is.
Yes.
And when I have bad days. We all will have bad days, right? And so recently, in the past month, it's January, and usually in the fitness industry, January is crazy busy. For our business, it's usually not, because we're a slightly different. We're not a very high volume type place, but we've been inundated with tons of communications and things about helping and supporting and going through with different people. And I felt really crappy about some stuff because we were doing a lot of work, but we weren't generating that kind of impact that we really wanted to generate. And it just wasn't really moving on. It was my fault. I was choosing the way I was doing things. And then that just instant moment comes out. You're like, oh, well, that's your own fault. Get over yourself, and then start moving through it. And immediately life just flips. More positive, more energy, wake up feeling, I don't need that snooze alarm anymore. And you can just continue to move through. And
That's awesome.
You nailed it with that alignment. You'll feel it. Right? Whether some are spiritual with God, and others are more divine with a different thought process. Whether that's higher energy or whatever it is that you believe. When you can't explain it and you feel connected to something else, it exists. In my opinion, the way I feel.
Yeah, that's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Alignment, like beliefs, are very simple. So people sort of put the context at the front, limiting beliefs or misalignment, when in fact there is only belief. What do you believe? That's what you direct your energy towards. What are you aligned with? That's what you experience. So it makes it really simple, really, really simple. And I love what you shared, because, the awareness is the key. Awareness is the tool. If we can be aware for a moment, and more moments during the day, of how we are perceiving the world and how we are reacting or responding in the world to, people, place, events, and circumstances, then at the end of the day, awareness gives us an incredible statement to unfold and to explore, which is, I did that. I created this. So outside of the world of judgment, it's saying, okay, I brought this upon myself, and we don't need to feel guilty. There's no shame. There's no need for guilt, for suffering. By being in the moment, you can go, wow, I'm so powerful. I've created a PhD in suffering for most of my life. I'm also so powerful that I can see the golden threads of new decisions and new behaviors that I'm choosing to make. And there are these golden flecks that I'm being shown, wow, this is possible. This is great. So the car park or the dollar note or whatever, or coin on the ground, it's showing you that if you can create the thing, you also can create the next thing. Yes. If you can willfully and wholeheartedly intend and direct your energy towards an outcome, then you can do it everywhere. Yes. And with everything. Yeah.
I love that. And we always say awareness alone is often enough to create change. You can't really create much change in a specific area if you don't have the awareness about that. And so we often say two things. Awareness is enough alone to create change, and action creates motivation. Often people think they need to be motivated to take an action, whether that's working out, whether that's looking at things a little bit differently, or meal prepping, or whatever that ends up being. I very rarely feel motivated to go and lift super, super heavy weights when I'm a little tired, but I know what that benefit is for my body. And so once I start, and a lot of people will resonate with this, once you get started, even if it wasn't planning to be a great day, that action creates that motivation. You become more aware of what you're doing, and then you create a lot of change. And so awareness, action are the two things we talk about. So
awesome.
And the same can be said for the mind, the heart, the stomach, the body, the spirit, everything.
Love that. Love that. And I love metaphors, so I speak a lot in metaphors. And people, some people sort of say, "Mate, I know you're speaking English, but it's taking me a little bit to drink this in and understand it." But what you've just said is brilliant from the point of you take action and motivation finds you. The chemistry of action builds the platform for the next step. So quite often I will share that your path is revealed with each step. Although we may have an intention to what we want to experience in our life, in certain areas of our life, we may have a very crystallized, clear, vivid intention, and we can build that out with our imagination. It is the steps that we take on a day-to-day basis, on a moment-to-moment basis, even then when we may feel self-doubt, even when we may feel a little bit fearful, or even when we may feel that we are facing perceived judgment or ridicule or rejection. We take steps that are aligned with our goal because they have come up through us and they seek in coming up through us to be expressed. So as we take one step, the next step is revealed. It's like the Indiana Jones, I think it was, the Crystal Skulls or one of those movies. And he's got the invisible bridge. Right. He doesn't know that the bridge is there, but his father there, Sean Connery is there lying down going, "Have faith, my son, have faith." And he takes a step forward and he just, big breath. And as he puts his foot out, it strikes the bridge, which is invisible to his perspective from this angle. But then the camera pans to the side and you can see that the bridge in fact exists, but it was just obscured or camouflaged inside the rock face of the other side of the chasm. It's the same thing. So yeah, it's awesome, man. It's awesome. So we could, we can definitely be doing a series on this. This is, this plumbs the depth. So I'd love to invite people to comment on what's been a big insight, what's been a big aha. There's been great pearls dropped here. So, and also, what do you feel is wanting to move through you right now in some or all areas of your life? Maybe ask that question of the self.
Absolutely. I'd love to hear that from anybody that's heard this, that's going to share this with family members, share this with friends. I know I'm going to share this video with our transformation challengers and our members at the gym. We'll just post it in our community group. So anybody listening, feel free to comment on this stuff, ask questions about if it made sense for you, and share your experiences and how this stuff connects, the aha moments. I love hearing about that stuff and how this can just play through your lives. And then if you're not sure about how to take some action and take some steps in your life, comment, ask those questions, and we'll be happy to help out for sure. But I could see this almost being like a regular weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly TV show that we're on if we can ever get Facebook Live to work and we get people.
Yeah, that's right.
This is something that it can just continue to snowball and bring, but bringing it to a core value of understanding where you are in these levels, or not a core value, sorry, just a core understanding and awareness. And then you can play that with your core values of the things that matter most to you. It'll help you with making decisions along your life to stay up in those higher levels and be able to transcend life for sure.
Love it. Love it. We're here to transcend. We're here to master. So let's play the game. So cool. I love it, mate. It's been great hanging out with you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Matthew, for your time. I really appreciate it. What time is it in Australia right now? 6:30 here. So about 10:30 there?
9:30.
9:30 in the morning? Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you're doing well. What do you got planned for the rest of the day?
Well, just a couple more calls and then, just hanging out with some fam this afternoon, getting some downtime. And then, so it's all proportioned. Nice.
Awesome. Well, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for today. I really hope we can do this again sometime soon. Let's chat about that and see what we can put together.
Yeah, let's do it. Love it, mate. Big love. Talk soon.
Okay.
See you, mate.